morning.
Right.
So ma'am, we are starting then.
Yes.
Okay, good. Thank you so much. I am really glad to be here. I'm glad that Charu ma'am found out and she was able to invite me here. She is aware of my background. We have really been in good relationship when I was a student and after that as well. But I was really thrilled to be here because the life was like so monotonous in this pandemic. We were just working and working, and thought sharing and knowledge sharing is really thrilling. It's really nice to be here and talking to everybody, and I'll try to make every minute I talk to be useful for you all, so at least you get value out of it what we are talking today. So I would like to
So,
start.
Khushboo, just a minute. Let us welcome you and introduce you to the entire class. Yeah. So,
I would like
yes.
to take the honors of introducing you first. So a very good morning to the esteemed director management and to the eminent guest of the day, to our respected teachers and my beloved friends. So today we have among us one of the most eminent and esteemed figurehead, Miss Khushboo Singh ma'am. So the topic for the discussion today would be on overview and overseas practices. But before we begin with, I would like to take the honors of introducing you all about ma'am a bit. So Ms. Khushboo Singh is currently working with Experis Manpower Group Canada, operating worldwide in 80 countries with my top IT clients across the globe for recruiting and consulting service. She has 8 years of experience in managing critical talent acquisition needs for functional and technical organizations and is also well versed with contact and full-time recruitment practices. She is also currently supporting IBM Pan Canada's critical IT positions. She is also the alumna of PGDM batch 2010 to 12. So I, Kaushiki Basu, on behalf of the PGDM batch 2022, welcome you, ma'am, on behalf of I.T.S Parivar also to this virtual session put up by I.T.S Ghaziabad. And your presence today has delighted us very truly. And now I would request our ma'am, Charu ma'am, to enhance us with some words and welcome Khushboo Singh ma'am. Over to you, ma'am.
Yeah. Thank you, Kaushiki. And like Khushboo said, it's indeed a pleasure to have you here as one of the speaker, Khushboo. So I wholeheartedly welcome you to this platform. And thank you very much for accepting my invite. Besides this time zone difference, I'm sure you are managing it somehow. But yes, we are happy that you are here and you can share your experience, your journey, right, related to the HR specialization. So welcome. Thank you. And welcome to ITS, your own campus. Over to you.
Thank you so much. I'm really feeling that homely. I know there are a lot of unknown face, but I am pretty sure that we unite from one campus. I was like you long back. I started my journey from I.T.S Ghaziabad. So I'll just talk a bit about my background, where I came from and how I exactly held my journey towards what I am today. So I was actually a biotech graduate, exploring my career options in the market. Indeed, from a science background, very much wanted to be into biotechnology area, but somehow I always knew that management is a pinch in me, and it was indeed a strong decision, being a science graduate and then move into management background. But I had a firm decision, back done in around like 2010 that I have to be into management line and see how it goes. And I had that feel that, I think I would do better. Science is okay, but management would really give me more options and more career options, more stability than what I think would, probably science option would do. So I started my post-graduation in diploma management with I.T.S Ghaziabad. My electives were HR and marketing. I always thought that marketing and HR, they go hand in hand. And I just chose these two subjects to be in. So I was really happy to go student in that campus, utilizing all my opportunities, starting, being participated in intra-campus things, attending seminars, like I said, a lot of things. I mean, I was really, really happy to be there. And I was utilizing my every minute to see, every day to see that what value I'm going to take it from here and utilize it in my future options. Other than that, I started I got a college campus actually from ITS, and then it just started moving, like my wheels started turning around. A bold decision to what I wanted to do, and a couple of companies in between, and then finally to Manpower Group. So this is where I come from, and this is where I stand. It's not a full stop. It's a long journey to learn and learning is constant, and especially in human resources, you just need to, just learn and upgrade yourself. You just can't stop. You just have to move on. Now, most important fact that I wanted to tell here is it's very important to value your organization. It's very important to value your institution. It's the badge that you actually carry all your life, where you come from, where you post graduating, and it's very important to trust your instincts about your institution. I did, and I think many of us are doing already. We really are from great institution, and we should respect what institution is giving us and what we are carrying on and on. I mean, I never forget that I'm from I.T.S. I really keep my badge, I.T.S badge everywhere, like be it LinkedIn, be it my resume. I have to keep it and I'm proud of it. And I think so should everybody. I.T.S is giving a great platform for you to discover yourself. I mean, institution is indeed there with you, and along with your own willpower and confidence and your quality, you need to qualify your career graph. It's very important. Your institution is indeed with you. So you, your willpower, your institution badge that actually takes you to where you want to qualify yourself in your career options. So always value your institution. You're actually at the right place. You just need to work out on yourself to see how and where you need to go. It's very important. And coming to this point, I just had a recent incident. I just kept moving from one country to another country, from US to Canada. And I think you should be proud to know that World Education Services, which is, a well-known qualifying agency that qualifies your degree on the basis of what you want to do in the new country, recognizes I.T.S. I mean, we're really recognized in their books that when or if you want to pursue your further education, or you want to go for a job, or if life takes you ahead in any foreign country, I.T.S is actually recognized. Because when you go to a foreign country, or when you move to a different, like any country, they would want to evaluate your degree and see how you qualify in their country, like how qualified you are with your basics, with your post graduation, or the subjects that you chose. So they want to see that, do you really fall into their criteria? Do you really fall into their country electives? And I.T.S does. So that's a good news for you all. I mean, I think there are many institutions, I know, but I'm glad that I.T.S is one of them. So we are worldwide recognized. I had that honor to have that recognition because of I.T.S. All my jobs in foreign countries, they wanted to cross-verify the accreditation of the college, and we do fall into that. So I just wanted to bring it to your attention that be positive, be proud from where you come from, because you're going to carry it all your life with you. It's never going to go anywhere. I just hope that it makes sense to everybody here. I think
Yes,
maybe a thumbs up or the smile would do good to me to understand that, yes, you had what I wanted to say. So I'll see, my major background is recruiting and selection. So when I say recruiting and selection, it's a vast domain. I had to make my career choice into recruitment, and there's a big logic behind it. When I was a student like you, I knew that we have marketing and we have recruiting, we have human resources, and human resources was vast. Like there's so many subjects that you can pick and you can move on. My prospect was always towards recruiting, because somehow I knew that it's the gateway to any company. It just keep moving. Like, it's a vicious cycle. You can't get anybody without recruiting into a company. It's a building block of any organization. And I was really fortunate to understand this fact, and I had this mind in my mind that, okay, like training and development, talent management, recruiting, all these things are there, but you need to be very clear that what dimension you need to go. So I was very clear in recruiting. I did my own research that what are the ways of going into recruiting, how exactly we can use it as a monetary income, like how do you earn out of your career if you choose that. So I did my own research, and I think everybody should do. I mean, whichever subject you like or wherever you want to go, just do a good research about it and see where does it take you in terms of money, and how much is the longevity of that role in that organization. So recruiting is something that that keeps you on. Like you would never be laid off from that role. Everybody needs to hire. Like organization needs to grow, and they'll keep recruiting people. So this is the kind of job that really keeps you safe in an organization, You do a lot. It's never monotonous. You keep working on the talent management part, on the resources, bring in, onboard them, and it's actually very interesting. However, the industry is divided into two parts. One is, where you get this big brands and they call you for the interview, and you go and you follow their process. That's called in-house recruiting. They call you and they want you to be part of their corporate recruitment. And second is divided into consulting services, which is now a major game changer in the market. A lot of companies, they want to hire, like within their organization, it's fine, but they also take help of consulting services to fulfill their requirement. And I'm talking about all these top companies. Do you really think that they really have that much resources or that big human resources team to tackle, like, a big bunch of numbers? They can't do it. They don't have that potential. They don't have that manpower to do it. They need help of consulting services, which is a big game changer in the market. It has been always, but it's just growing. So consulting is really big. So if you see any job offer or any opening from consulting, I would say try, because it's the next generation thing coming up in the market. A lot of big companies like IBM, like my client is IBM. I work from Manpower Group, and IBM really needs help to fulfill their requirement, and that's what I'm doing for them. I'm dedicated to IBM team. I work on their requirement. I help them out in selecting the right resources for them, and they have big top-notch projects running from them. So now imagine, like, if we the recruiters, we don't work for IBM, they can't fulfill their requirements. Like their project is at glitch, they can't move. So they need recruiters, they need good resources to help them out in finding the right talent so they can run their business. So it has to be some of the other way, parallel to the company and the consulting company, that they have to join their hands together and work for each other. So my first job was basically into recruiting, into consulting. I had no hesitation in taking up that job and going for it. It was Acro Service Corporation. So that was my first job basically, and there I started as a consulting recruiter, and then it just keep moving. And then I'm into a similar nature, into a similar job that I'm doing with Manpower. And I really feel that it's a more stable job. If anybody from human resources is trying to find out what to do, in which stream to go, if you want to consider recruiting and do a bit research about it, it's really practical to think how recruiting takes you to a monetary level, to a career level, where you can sit in an organization, work for them, and just keep moving until you really find something good for yourself and for your stability. So that's how consulting and in-house recruitment, they go together with the companies. And you can always explore consulting options like I did for myself. And I made a good choice for myself. And other than that, um, I would say recruiting comes up with the two options. It's IT and non-IT. I was always interested in IT. I knew that this is something which is going to take the world ahead. I mean, IT is never going to go out of the option, right? So I educated myself into IT recruiting. I really read, Google, talked a lot, did my homework, like the way I do my work. I really was serious to understand the IT market, and I made my way into IT recruitment. So now imagine somebody who is from a non-IT background is really taking care of IBM critical position. So that exactly happened because I wanted to do that. I took a challenge to get into IT world, deal with architect, deal with business analyst, business systems analyst, all critical IT, IBM niche positions. So I did it, and it's very practical. And if you think that you want to go into IT recruiting, it's another level of game changer career option that you can go in, you can explore, work on IT skills. It's never gonna fade from the market. You will find IT always, and an IT recruiter is always and always needed. So you can step up on your career graph this way. So you know exactly what you're doing, which direction you have to go. My career moves were very planned. I really knew what I have to do, I have to plan. It was a long short measurement that I was seeing myself where I have to be and how exactly I have to put myself in the market so I don't fade away. My job doesn't go. It keeps running. So anybody from human resources would try to explore recruiting. Recruiting is vast. You can put your hands in any direction. You'll get a job. you'll get longevity in the job, and you might see yourself, maybe down the line, maybe in 5 6 years at your dream job, maybe stable, understanding the concepts of companies, maybe changing job. So it helps. It helps. And that was my major goal, to be here to bring your uh, understanding towards recruiting as a whole, and not just into books where you see that, okay, so you interview, you take in the candidate is gone into talents management hand, and onboarding people are taking care and they're gone. It's not just like that. You really have to do a lot. It's very interesting. You can earn good money. Even in India, I'm not just talking about Canada and US. In India, I mean, a major chunk of IT projects are handled by consulting company. They're handling them very well. You can choose a consulting company as your startup. You can start and you can keep moving. And anybody who's from IT background and doing an MBA here, it's a boon to those people who are from a technical background coming here. So anybody from an IT thinking what to choose, what not to choose, can always have human resources as their second option, along with whatever you want to take, marketing or IB or whatever it is. But like I would say, just think about it. I mean, human resources as a whole is a big globe. You can just choose anything and you can go on. Since I'm from recruiting background, I could only educate you on recruiting. And recruiting and talent management are two different things. I would say do not get confused with that prospect. Talent management is a different team. Recruiters are different. Recruiters are the front facer. We are the foot soldiers standing on the gate, right at the company's top, where we say who has to go inside and who don't have to go inside. So these are totally different things. I just hope that, after this discussion we have today, you might change your prospect towards human resources and specifically into recruiting. And you might think it as a career option, maybe down the line. And never hesitate to go with any consulting company. They're the game changer. They might give you a small start, but the moment you go on and on, you're just unstoppable. And it's just not with me, with all my colleagues who started with consulting, they're unstoppable now. They're more deeper into recruiting. They're earning, like in India. You won't believe, but like after 3 years or 4 years down the line, you start making like 50, 60, 70K. And it also pays off incentive, which is the best part. Like I think this is the only section of recruiting or dimension of recruiting that pays you on top of your salary. Like the number of recruits you do, you keep getting incentives of that, because that motivates you to make more numbers and bring more people to the company. And it's a common trend that all over the world these organizations are following, to keep incentive along with your salary. And some people, like who are really like pioneer in this industry, are making almost the same amount of money, same incentive as they're making their salary. So it really takes them high. So not just because of theoretical aspects and that you see around, but it really pays you well. It's a good paid industry where you can explore your options, earn money, and just keep moving. So that's why I really think that recruiting is a very crucial base of any organization, and it would keep your job safe. It would give you a job safety, and you have a lot of learning there. I mean, there are a lot of trainings with these companies do to have their recruiter on top of everything. So I mean, just explore and see what best you can find out from the organization. So the more you go with bigger organization, the more benefits you start gaining out of them. So we start from building blocks, and then we go on the top, and then we start exploring our more options. We start educating ourselves. We start shaping our career more. So which is good, but it has to go from a start, right? You just can't climb on the building and get everything. Some people are really lucky who get into a bigger game changer things, but most of it we really start small, like I did. And I think many of my friends, many of my colleagues, they were like me. They started with smaller step, and then it finally turned out into well-paid job. Do you think it went well? Like, does it make sense? Any smile?
Yes, ma'am. Definitely.
Thank you so much. So I am assuming that we have all first year students here. Charugam, do we have anybody who's especially from HR, like taking HR and working with the subject particularly?
No, Khushboo. Right now we have just first year students. because they are into their classes as we are having exam in the next week itself, right? Although I miss it. Yeah.
I just hope they're used to of examinations. I mean, I don't think so. It scared them anymore.
Huh.
We give like too many exams. Keep on giving them. Okay. So my main motive is to help you out in getting the selection. Like doing the selection for your electives, like how you change. I know you keep moving. You keep talking to faculties, to each other, that what should be taken, what not should be taken. I also had this dilemma long back, but educating yourself more is going to help you out in making these choices. I educated myself. I was, of course, like you, like I wasn't very intelligent. Like I just educated myself that how exactly I have to do the things. And, brainstorming, talking to somebody who is from the similar domain, keeping in touch with them really helps and make you understand that, how exactly the career graph can go. So, any questions so far? Anybody has anything to ask before I move on to the next step?
Yes, I think it will be better if you will be asking questions. It's an interaction session, right? She cannot talk for 1 hour, right? Just discussing about her journey and experiences. If you will be asking questions, it will be better. Apuva, you got so many questions at the time.
Yeah, I have. A good morning, ma'am. And I would like to ask you, ma'am, basically, there are some myths and stereotyping regarding the HR, like the growth is limited and your learning will be limited after a certain period of time, ma'am. Is it true? Because we are at the starting era and you have experience of about 8 or 10 years. So can you just tell us like what the actual conditions are there in corporate and what the people told to you? So what is the difference in that?
Okay, Apurva, that's what I've been talking since long, that it doesn't restrict you. This domain doesn't restrict you. Well, see, okay, I think uh, in my starting career graph, I did join a consulting company and I worked as a generalist over there. Okay, so generalist is as a whole, like you manage each and everything. It was so overwhelming, and it was just bit of everything. Like you wear multiple hats and then you do your work, and then you're a talent manager, then you're a manager as a whole, then you're an administrator, then you're a recruiter. So in generalist profile you really do a lot, but slowly steady you realize that you should narrow yourself and you should be master of one trait, and that really helps you. So like I said, human resources is huge. They have 10,000 things in it. Now, I would say just don't think it as a human resource. Just dig deeper and see what area you want to choose. Like I chose recruiting. Many of my colleagues went into training and development. They love doing that. Many of us, they went into journalist profile. They love doing all. But it depends that what exactly, like what exactly we want to do. So if you choose a dimension and you go, it helps you in understanding that do you have to do more certification? Do you have to move on from one organization to another organization and see what better options you have, not in terms of your remuneration or in terms of benefit, but better options in the sense of learning, that what is the nature of the company and how exactly you do with them. So learning for sure never stops. If you get the more you start your career uh, towards the domain that you want to choose, you start getting into better and bigger organization, and you start adding value from those organizations to your skill set. So that's what we do when we change companies. We don't change, of course, for remuneration, but we also see the sideline of the company and how I'm going to grow in that company. So what you're asking is, restricting yourself, sitting on a chair, doing what you do, and taking your salary, going home and thinking, oh, I'm not growing. We can't do that. We can't do that in any job, I think. Like you just have to move. And one day when you're really good with your experiences, when you're good with your knowledge, and you think that, oh, I can sit here and I can do my job like for 10 years in this company. So you do it. I mean, nobody restricts you in your career graph. Nobody restricts you to learn. I have seen people who just keep moving from one organization to another organization in 2 years span. They keep moving and moving, and when they think that they're good in this organization with learning curve, with their growth, with their promotions, with the salary, they stop. I know there's a saying that you can't switch your job too frequent, but there is no rule. This is your life, this is your learning curve, you know what you have to do. And these are just organizations, these are not your destinations. Like, you need to decide what you have to do. If you don't like an organization, you don't feel that you're better fit, just move on, just find something else for you that makes you feel better, that makes you feel valuable, that adds value to you. I think that's a better option rather than just staying in work organization and feeling vulnerable, right?
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you.
Ma'am, I have
No,
a question.
yeah, sure.
Ma'am, for getting selected in the HR position, what do organizations actually require in the candidate? Like anything extra or anything special they require?
Listen, at your level as a fresher, all what they want to know is your confidence. They don't really understand what knowledge you have or what knowledge you carry, but let us, they want you to be qualified for the job you're applying. So you just can't carry the same persona to each job positions every time. Like, every organization demand a different skill sets. It demand a different kind of role, and you have to keep playing into different roles. You just can't be Koshiki Basu for company number A, company number B, and company number C. You just have to change your statement, change your confidence level, change your personality, change your persona, like, to each job you go. I would say confidence matter a lot. Your theoretical knowledge about the role that you are applying matters a lot, and not what you have in your head. Like, what they say, if you know you can do it, just talk about it. So they want you to talk and see if you qualify for that role or not. So that's very important, that before you apply to any job, just read the job description, go in the job detail and see if the job matches to your qualification. And if it does 100%, you gain the confidence of going in an interview and cracking it, because that's what matches to your qualification. So never ever apply to any job without reading or understanding what they want. Otherwise, you're going to be half qualified, and most likely they're going to sleep over your resume and they'll never come back to you unless you're a 100% match, unless you feel that you're a 100% match. That's very important.
Thank you, ma'am.
Any other questions?
Yes, ma'am, I have one question. Uh,
Sure.
Ma'am, I've heard like that it's always better that if you have a degree from a country you are going to settle. Just like if you're going to Canada, it's always better you have a degree of a course from there only. Is it true, ma'am, or it doesn't matter? It only matters that what is in our resume, what is our education in India.
Okay. So now what I'm going to say, you might think that I'm promoting recruiting, but I am not. I'm just making you aware of the situation. It's such an amazing domain that you may or you may not need a certification. So as a recruiter, you don't need any such certification from a particular country. All you need is your experience. And trust me, like, recruiting practices, like the steps that we follow, they're same in each country, because it's the same way that we bring a resource to an organization. The only difference would be their methods of doing it, right? So for example, they want you to be really good into ATS. So ATS is applicant tracking system. So we don't do the Excel sheet thing, right? When we have huge pool of consultants, like, we really recruit on a huge at a huge level, at a massive level, we have applicant tracking system. So what they want to know from you is, do you really have a good understanding of applicant tracking system? Do you really know how to use the job boards? Do you really know how to talk and convince the candidate? Do you really know how to negotiate? And I don't think so that any certification or any course would be required to qualify these criteria. I mean, these things come from your experience. So what matter in foreign countries or any country, I mean, it's just not about Canada or US, be it Singapore or any Middle East country, they would want to know your past experience into recruiting. So that's more important, to have your base. And then if you want to move on into any other country, you can just have that experience and go on. And later on, you can just see that what are the regional certifications that would help you in growing. Like, if you think that, okay, I want to go into journalist profile, or I want to do the talent management, internally. So there are certain courses that you have to go through, because labor law in each country is different. We can't have the same labor law, as we have in India, then we have in Canada, US, or Middle East. These are different. So if you want to move from recruiting into core HR, like you want to make your way as a tunnel into their organization, you want to do training and development, you want to be into generalist, you want to be into talent management, or let's say you want to go into, there is a division where we manage resources and we also do the onboarding thing. So it's HR operations, but you need to know the labor laws over there. It's very important. So if you go there, you need, but if you're doing recruiting, you just need your experience and the confidence to tell them that I know my job. You give me a platform, I'll really do it well. So for recruiting, you don't need any special certification. However, they're expensive. If you want to add on any credit to yourself, depends, you can always do it, but not a mandatory thing.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Any other question, boys? You don't like recruiting, you don't like human resources?
I want to ask a question.
Actually, I had a
May I,
question.
ma'am?
I'm sorry,
Ma'am,
I didn't.
good morning, ma'am. Actually,
Hey,
Anuj this side. Ma'am,
yes,
actually,
Anu.
I was talking like you were talking about like from Apurva to switching companies and all stuff. Like we can switch companies if you don't feel to like work on that. So, ma'am, that does not that hamper our CV? Like if we don't stick up to one company and just keep on just changing around, like we
Well,
can
see, okay,
in recruiting.
so okay, sure. So if you remember, I said that it's very important for you to qualify yourself for the role. It's very important for you to understand the role first and say yes, right? So major cases where we really switch from one job to another job is because we just missed something. We just missed the understanding. We just missed what the organization wanted us to deliver, and we are not able to do it. Like, it's not your cup of tea. So either you have accepted the job in pressure, or because of the current situation or any circumstances that actually lends you into a miserable situation where you have to leave the job and move on, right? So it's very important for you to qualify the job for yourself first before the HR manager qualifies you for the job. So step number one is just see where you're applying, just takes you to at a better position, and make you stay longer. But still, if there is a glitch, the job is problematic, or let's say employer promises didn't come true, it's good to make a move on rather than spending your time and not adding any value to you. Otherwise, that would hamper your next interview, and you would not be able to qualify yourself well in the other interview because you kept sleeping on a role where you didn't like the roles and responsibilities. It doesn't matter your CV, it doesn't matter your resume. um, I mean, if you have a good reason to tell to the employer, it doesn't matter to them. All they need is a brilliant employee and a confidence that you can do their job. So if you have a reason to validate, if you have that confidence to tell them that, hey, listen, this happened to me, I was right, and this was the problem. I tried to overcome the problem. It didn't happen though. So I thought that I should resign and move on and get into a better job where I can add value to it. And then that's so justified. Like human resources managers, they understand, they're humans. I know they have a pressure of recruiting and getting people in, good people in, but they also see the other side of the prospect.
Ma'am, like, matlab, we studied in like employee structure or something like we should be adaptive to the work environment. So like that doesn't count if we leave for something which we don't get in the organization and not adapt into the work environment.
Okay, this adaptation is different what you read. This adaptation is that you adapt to your organization's values, culture. You adapt to their goals. You see what they want you to do. You have to little bend yourself, and you have to be what they want to see you, and not stress you, and not break you, and then leave you in the market stranded. This adaptation is different.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Any other question, boys?
Ma'am, I just want to ask a question to you. May I,
Sure.
ma'am? Ma'am, this side
Yes,
Neha Agrawal from 1921 batch.
she is from
So,
HR
ma'am,
specialization
I have
now. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yes,
yes,
Neha.
ma'am, I want to know that we see certain candidates who are not scientific and they want to include in the study.
Neha, there is a network issue at your end. You are not audible to
Now
us.
I'm clear.
Yes.
May I write in chat box?
Yeah, it will be better. है ना? It will be better now.
Okay. Any other questions, guys? Any other questions about foreign recruiting policies, like how we really do the things here? Anything that you want to know from IBM's prospect? If you want to know how I manage the requirements and how I present myself to the client. So okay, so now because we talked about the client, customer value and satisfaction is very important. We have read this in marketing, and it's true everywhere. It's true even my domain. It's true in every domain where you have to carry the customer value and satisfaction. We all are customers to each other in a different way when we are in the private world. So for me, my customers are people who I recruit. Recruiting is a very sensitive step that me and many recruiters like me really follow. We just can't have the chalta hai attitude. We really have to have sincerity, and we take a responsibility of onboarding a candidate. Like there are like so many people who are at an architect level, like 20 years of experience, and they would want to apply to your job, and you have to handle their career so with so sincerity, like you just can't do any mistake. It really costs a lot. So you really have to take them as your customer, walk them through to the entire stage, get them to onboarding team and deliver them there. So it's very important to have that customer service attitude, the customer value that we get. It's everywhere. It's even in marketing. It's for sure in marketing. It's 100% about it. It's also in human resources, that you have to be very sincere about your customer service approach. Do we make sense here?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes.
Khushboo, if you can a little bit more elaborate related to this recruitment cycle, right? The way you start and the way you close the position. Now, what do you do
Yes.
in between, right? A little bit.
I wanted to save it for the last part, that I would walk
Okay.
them through what I do and how I take care of this IBM process. So basically, what they do, they release you the jobs. That's how the cycle goes. That marketing team goes and does the business deal. They close the deals between the two companies or the end clients. The business deal is closed. They bring up the requirement. BA goes and says, okay, I need 2 developers, 8 architects, and that's how the business deal comes up with the requirement. So having said that, this requirement comes to the talent management team. They decide the budget. They decide how exactly the budgeting has to be done, how each individual is been paid, and then that comes to the recruiter that, okay, so we need 7 developers, we need 10 architects, we need 2 business analysts, or let's say we need desktop level 3, level 2, whatever they want. So the entire acquisitions come to the recruiter, and we have been given a job description. And this job description is intense. We have to qualify, we have to read it properly and see, okay, so what are the prime skills? Because they write so much, they want everything from the person, and it's us who basically trims it down and qualify the job details and then find the people in the market. So okay, so this qualifying is actually intense, and that's the major part of recruiting, that how do you qualify a candidate, how do you reach the candidate. So the method that I use is for sure the job boards and the cold calls. I never hesitate to pick the phone and talk to the person. Email is not my way. I always want the control of the candidate, and that's very important part of recruiting, that you need to control the candidate. The candidate should not control you. I mean, this is just as a recruiter and not as a job seeker. Okay. So as a recruiter, we need to control the candidate move, and we don't give the control in their hand. So it's very important for you to tune in with the person applying to your job, get through with his resume, get through with his personality, get in his head and see what exactly this person is thinking about. Like, is he really serious to your job, or he's exploring his options? So, the more you talk, the more you get to know about the candidate, and that can't happen with the emails. So when you grow in the organization, you see a lot of chain emails happening, and slowly a lot of people get used to that emailing thing. But I think in recruiting and human resources, it's always important to talk to the resource and make a connect. So that's what basically I do. I talk to them, I see who qualifies for my job. So we have job boards. we have our internal database where we can go and search for the candidate, and of course we do the job postings. These three things go hand in hand. So the moment you get a role assigned, you work on a role, you jump onto these three things. You can prioritize what do you want to do first, second, and third, and you start posting the job, making cold calls, look into the database, and then the moment you get a candidate, you qualify the candidate, negotiate with the candidate, talk about the rate, just see where his comfortable zone is lying and where is your budget lying. So you have to make a balance between that to see how you're closing the candidate, because money makes everybody happy, but for sure you also need to take care of your organization's budget, that where it is going. And this is both for full-time and contractual recruiting. Contractual and full-time recruiting goes hand in hand. The only difference is that for a full-time recruiting, we need to do a passive hunting. Like, you just have to keep your pipeline always on. You can't just sit and wait for the requirement to come. So for full time, let's say your organization is an IT organization, they would always need developer. Or let's say your organization is a marketing organization, they would always need salespeople. So you can't wait the management to come to you or the business team to come to you and tell you that I would need 4 salesperson, or let's say 4 account managers. You have to keep your cycle on. You have to keep looking, keep talking. So this is something that really makes you a good resourcer, a good recruiter. When you're active, you keep exploring, you keep networking, and you have your pipeline ready. This also saves you from the stress. The moment roles come in and you're like, okay, so I have to invest my a week time into this because I don't have anyone ready. So permanent recruiting needs your activeness entire year. Contractual recruiting needs your activeness there and then. Like, you have to jump on the requirement, qualify the candidate, send the candidate in. You go through the entire interview process. You make him run through that, follow up, get him the feedback, relax, tell him that, okay, I'm going to get back to you in 3 days time or 4 days time or in a daytime, and you get the feedback to the candidate. I remember in this incident, I had an interview with a very big top-notch company here in Canada. And, when you're into recruiting, you have your own understanding, you have your own theory on the basis of which you keep moving and keep practicing. I had a discussion, final round with the deputy HR manager with this company. And he wanted to know that what, according to me, is the most crucial part of recruiting. So I had my own thought process in my mind. I was like, okay, according to me, feedback is so important. Like, if I'm keep submitting resume, I'm sending people in, and I'm not getting the feedback, like they're rejecting, but I don't know why are they rejecting. I wouldn't improve. I wouldn't know that, where's the problem. And he was not satisfied with my answer. I didn't get the job, but I asked him, like, what according to you is the right answer? And according to him, it was follow up. He said it's very important to have the follow up between the recruiter and the interviewer, like whoever is the interviewing team, the recruiter has to keep the follow up tight. But I didn't get that. Like, we all come with different logics in our industry, with our practices. You would have your own logic, but the point is that just make sure about what you're thinking, what you want to do, and how your practices are growing. I didn't get the job, but I was satisfied with my answer. And I really remember that day that, okay, according to him, follow-up was a major big thing for him. But for me, it was feedback. So there are challenges. There would be conflict of thoughts when you move on, when you have interviews, when you're in the organization. But I would say it's good to stand high what you think, but it doesn't mean that, if there's a lack, you wouldn't accept that. Accept the lack and just stand high with what your thought process is, and keep your practices very practical, up to date as per the market standard. So it helps you in moving on and finally getting to your goal.
Khushboo,
Make
there is a
sense?
question, yeah, in the chat box. Kaushik, if you can read it.
Okay, I'm sorry.
First from
Yes,
Neha,
ma'am.
I don't know whether she's here or not.
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Okay, yes.
Yes, ma'am, I'm here.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Ma'am, the question is that we got some candidates who are not financially good and they want some increase in the provided salary, but it is out of the hiring criteria. Then, ma'am, how to deal with it?
Okay. Okay. So, when you say they're not financially good, like, what do you mean by that?
Ma'am, they are basically searching for job only to fulfill their financial needs. So, ma'am, I faced this situation during my internship that I am taking interview of a candidate, and he is saying that, ma'am, I am doing this job only because of my financial conditions. So I want a little increment in the salary that you are providing. So, ma'am, at that time, I got little confused that how to deal with that situation. That how to convince the candidate to ready for the job in the same salary that the company is providing.
Okay. Well, you know what? It's a good question because this kind of situation I do come across my life as well, where I have something to offer, but the candidate doesn't agree. However, candidate is rich, but they still does not agree because they have a set target in their mind that okay, I need this salary because I'm in a situation, I'm at a stage where I would need that. And coming to your situation where the candidates say that okay, I need rise because I need it because my situation is not great and I want more money. So you know what, it's never good to be emotional in getting yourself little uh, I would say don't get emotionally drained because you are working for your organization and parallelly you have to bring on board a candidate. So now here, we say that negotiation skills are really important. You need to teach him about the job that he is getting or she is getting. You need to teach him, you need to tell him that what exactly he's going to fetch out from the role and where this role is going to take him. Don't go against your organization budget because that wouldn't help you. And if they have a scorecard, they would also not qualify you for the scorecard because these organizations, they also evaluate you on the basis of the work you do, how many closures you have, how was your negotiation skills, and how exactly you handed over the candidate and walk him through to the entire recruiting journey. It's okay to lose a candidate, but you need to find the best talent. If you think that this guy or the person is really really good, like he's a superstar, and if he comes in he would add value to your organization, there is some flexibility for these kind of performers that you think they are. Go and talk to your organization and say, I found somebody who's looking for so and so, like money or package, and I want the manager to have a look at it. Because end of the day, we are the sourcer, we are the frontliners. We can provide our management the best options we can, but it does come up with a restriction. These kind of cases should be really dealt case on case basis. Don't get emotional. Note the point, just see what you want, what you can offer, take it to your reporting manager and see how this can be dealt. But never just be a decision maker just because you're a little emotional of that situation.
Okay, ma'am.
Ma'am, I just posted a question, and ma'am, it's like, ma'am, you have been hiring clients all over. So, ma'am, has there been any differences while handling a foreign client and like a client here in India or something, like of two different?
Okay, no, I don't think so. At this stage, they're all professional. They really understand how to deal in with the market in the inside and the outside resources. I don't think so. There was much difference. They really stand up well with their ethics and their business deals. So no, I don't think so. There is any difference. They're the same. They just change their dialogues. They just change their thought process from country to country because cultures are different, understanding are a little different, but they really do good well. I mean, when it comes to foreign client, be it from USA or Canada to India or vice versa, we really present well. It's good. I mean, I haven't seen any problem so far.
Ma'am, there is one more question. Like I wanted to ask that what is the talent management strategy that foreign countries follow?
Okay, so you can see talent management is way different than what we think. Talent management as a whole is doing a big scrutiny within the organization and having meeting with your business person, with your reporting head, and finding out that what you need and what exactly the new deals are coming in or having projections for future. So talent management as a whole is a big thing. So I don't, in my understanding, I don't think so that there are particular strategy, management strategy. It's the same in all organizations that they follow. They go with the with a QA method and see which department needs what. And they do it regularly. They go with the feedback session. They go with multiple meetings to understand the requirement of any particular division. So let's say marketing, for example, the talent management team, they're always going to do a quarterly meeting, or some organization who are really good, they do monthly meetings to understand the requirements, and they pipeline. So so the strategy that you might want to know is pipelining. They keep pipelining, they don't stop. So sometimes even I get some requirements which are like a dummy requirement, like they don't need them now, but they would need them after 3 months or after 6 months. So I have to get a candidate ready who would like to take a job after 6 months. So talent management team is actually here, who planned and projected that they might need a resource after 6 months. But I think it's just a common practice that all the organization follow about this projection method.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. And ma'am, there is one more question from Ms. Shweta Jha, that
Mhm.
what impresses you most about the candidate when you're considering hiring someone?
If the candidate matches my job criteria 100%, I'm really impressed, because that's what I do. Like I said, like, you know what, you really don't have to get emotional. Like, really don't have to be too happy. You just need to find the right candidate. That's my job. Like, if I need a developer with n number of skills, I really have to focus on the skills. I don't really care that this guy really looks good, or what kind of background he's from. If he knows his job, he's my best candidate. That impresses me the most, and I'm really happy the day I really find a 100% job. That's my best day. I really return back to my work being so happy, and returning back to next day to my job. That really makes my day, and that impresses me a lot. Like, you really find the right candidate for yourself, and it's a hard work. It really takes time for you to qualify a candidate. I remember, like, when I work on architects, they eat your time, they eat your 30 minutes, and you really see yourself like draining time like anything. And you have tons of requirements on you, and an architect really takes 30 minutes to understand what this job is, to understand and gain confidence from you, that you're going to walk him through the entire process and you'll not leave him in between. It's a process. It's a tough process, I would say. Any other questions that you see?
Ma'am, but as you said that then recruitment qualities are the subjective matter, and it depends on job to job. But there must be some attributes which we require to qualify all the jobs or some of the jobs.
Okay, so you know what? When I was at my start, when I started working and started qualifying the jobs, it was tough for me, and it really comes up with experience. So the more you read about the job, the more you read about the new technology, or let's say for your interest. Okay, so let me take it this way: that I love working on developer requirements. I work a lot on cloud requirements, be it Azure, be it AWS, be it Google Cloud. I read a lot about it, and same goes with developers. I mean, the major developer role, it comes to me, and I keep working on those requirements, so I have a good understanding of it. So now, if somebody asks me, or if I go for an interview and say, okay, Khushboo, what are your qualities? I would say I love working on cloud technologies. I love working on developer role. But that really comes up with an experience and a lot of reading that you do. It's very important for you to actually love your job, to educate yourself. I repeat, educate yourself to what you're doing, educate yourself to the role that you want to be in. And most importantly, you have to qualify the job before you even apply, before even the HR manager selects you for a job. You need to know that are you suitable for the job. The moment you feel that you are 100% match, you get the job there and then.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. Um, do you think we have any other questions or any important thing that you have in your mind and you want me to address? Because I would just like to take, in my understanding, I would just like to discuss the importance of LinkedIn, which is very important as a recruiter, as a marketing professional, as any professional like you want to be. It's very important to make full use of LinkedIn. I mean, it's really important to build your profile. It's very important to connect to the right people and not like n number of accepting n number of invites and sending n number of invites to what you think should be good, it doesn't help. It doesn't help at all. It only helps when you really have a good pool of networking in your LinkedIn, and that's actually knowledge sharing and helping you out if you need them. And that's what I do. LinkedIn is my major hiring tool. I only go to job boards when I really need some niche skill people that I know that I wouldn't find them on LinkedIn, or they might have not explained them well on LinkedIn. I go to Monster or I go to Career Builder or any other portal that we use here. But my only recruiting tool is LinkedIn. I mean, I cover my major requirements from LinkedIn. I find them, I talk to them, they respond me well, uh, and I take it from there. So LinkedIn is really very important. Being as a job seeker, being as a recruiter, being as a as somebody who you want to expose yourself to get noticed, it's important to really have an attractive LinkedIn profile and to have right people in your connection.
Ma'am, there is one more question in the chat box. Can we ask?
How can we control the emotional area if we are in recruiting? Okay, so that's actually goes person to person. I am an emotional person, but when it comes to recruiting, I'm really serious. I'm very furious. I'm serious towards my work. I laugh a lot, I chat a lot, I talk a lot, but when it comes to recruiting, I don't do those things. Like, you have to be serious. It's important. You have to control your emotions. You have to control your feelings when you talk. Just don't get drained. Be positive. You don't work for that candidate, you're going to work for an organization. So think from organization's prospect. I would say control is the only option.
Ma'am, one more question I wanted to ask. Like, I want to opt HR. That's why I'm asking. Like, the reason, ma'am, one thing I want to know that while we are while they are hiring us and they ask us the one thing, if they want to ask if we are, for the HR position, that if we are giving you the HR position, you have to first say how will you manage conflict in a team. So how would we answer that?
Okay, conflict management. Did you read about it?
Yes, ma'am, we have this conflict management chapter.
But did you really read the real base scenarios that how conflict management can be dealt? And honestly, just by reading books, just by reading theories, conflict management can never be handled. They're way different than what you see in books, and they're way different than what you face in an organization. So you really need to read a lot to understand how you build your own theory. It does not come up with a set rule that how you manage a conflict. Conflict are different at different levels, at different positions, and you need to have your own understanding about it. Like, I don't know what situation you're talking about, but it goes by situation to situation. Like, you can't practice the same conflict theory from for at in a particular group or a circle of employee, and then if something happens to a different circle of employee, you can't do the same thing to each of them. You have to have a different theories, different ideas to each conflicts. Like, your question was way, yeah, tell me, sorry.
I'm just asking that if they ask us that suppose we giving you this HR position, but like you have to answer if there's some any kind of conflict in a team, how would you handle the employees? Like what
do
can
you
we
have a
answer?
do you have a situation to address? I'm sure when they ask you this, they're going to give you a situation. Do you have any
Like
situation in mind?
uh, situation. Okay, suppose there is a situation that somebody in a team is taking the credit of someone, and people are not working together in the project, but one person is taking the credit, and that is the thing. If that is a conflict, then how can you handle?
Okay, so that's a team conflict. That's a team conflict, we say. So when you have a team conflict in an organization, so let's say if I have a team conflict in my organization, how my okay, so we don't deal that as a recruiter, but I would tell you that there has to be a manager, or let's say as an HR manager, you would want to first see that where the problem lies. You would try to report it. If the problem reports to a reporting head, let's say the team has a reporting head, it's very important to go through the organization chart and just try to find out with the head that what's going on with the team, and then you slowly steady move to the problem creator, and get the two party together and take them to a separate meeting room, or you want to talk separately to them, And it's okay. So there are two ways of doing that organization do. One is you keep the both people together and talk. Another way of doing is that you talk to the both people separately. You go to the hiring manager, you go to the reporting manager of those two people, and then you ask advice. I would say it's safe to do the second thing because the reporting head knows a lot about his team. He knows how he needs to deal with them, and you work out with the team manager that how this problem has to be resolved, and not like doing it alone, because end of the day you're not going to manage the team manager has to deal with it. If the team does not have a manager, then probably you can intervene and take a maybe a decision maker. But if